Hey guys, Omni here. So last night I watched Army of the Dead over on Netflix. This is Zack Snyder's latest film, his return to the horror genre, the return to the zombie genre. This film dives into the zombie landscape hardcore, and it was a blast from start to finish. I did record my reaction to the entire film, but due to time constraints, I'm not going to be able to edit it down for the channel here. But if you want to see the full reaction watch along, I do have that over on my Patreon, or if you become a member here to the channel, both of those will get you access to that. If you're curious about it at all, if you want to check that out, it's there for you guys. I enjoyed this movie for something, especially, with how big stuff like The Walking Dead got over the years. For a while, it definitely felt like the zombie genre for a hot minute has been kind of stale. For a little bit, we had like some things here and there, like Warm Bodies, that kind of threw a wrench into the norms of a zombie apocalypse theme. And I feel like this movie does a little bit of that. While feeling very familiar, there's a lot of new twists and turns that Zack adds to this film that makes it quite refreshing, alongside this ensemble cast that brings this whole thing to life. And I had to make a list of these because there's so many names on this that there's no way I could remember them just off the top of my head. So we'll go through that here in just a second. This film is just Zack Snyder's vision from beginning to end. As far as we can tell, there's been zero interference with this movie. Netflix has really invested in Zack Snyder for this one going through. He basically gets to create his own universe out of this. We know that there's a live action prequel coming out. There's an anime prequel coming out. And this movie has already sprung board off, and I think it's being pretty well received, especially for a Snyder film, which tends to draw a lot of fracturing here and there. I'm personally, I don't like all of his films. My first introduction to him was Dawn of the Dead, though, and I like seeing him return to his roots. This movie has some of the typical Zack Snyderisms that you would expect in here, but there is a lot to this that almost kind of separates it from a Zack Snyder film. So I don't know how general audiences are going to react to this. Maybe better, maybe worse. Who knows? But I loved it. I loved it to death, man. I think this is one of his most beautiful films that we've seen, despite all the gruesome imagery. He was the director of this. He wrote it. This is a story. This is from his mindscape that he brought this to life. On top of that, he was also the director of photography for the film, and he was even the cameraman for a lot of it. So he was very hands-on in every aspect of this. I know he's working on the anime and the live-action prequel. Some of the cast members are even returning to reprise some of their roles in those. And the cast in this was really just enjoyable, like from beginning to end. They were all very hyper accentuated, exaggerated characters, but they were fun. They were interesting. Everybody kind of stood out in their own way. And let's just take a dive through this cast real quick. And I might stumble on some of the names, but we'll get through it, guys. So, of course, we've got Dave Bautista, Ella Purnell, Omari Hardwick, Anna de la Reguera, Matthias Schweighöfer, Nora Arnezeder, Hiroyuki Sanada, Garret Dillahunt, Tig Notaro, Raúl Castillo, Samantha Wynn, and Huma Qureshi. The standout performances in this, I have to add, are two of which aren't really, I would say, the main cast, at least the billing cast. I want to call out the main zombie and then the zombie queen that we saw in the trailer. Those are played by Richard Citrone and Athena Parampil. I gotta give them props for their nonverbal communication, the way they use body language to convey all of their actions. I think they had some really stellar performances despite not having any dialogue in this, and I was really drawn to it. It was really interesting. Out of the main cast, of course, Dave Bautista has been an actor we should have been keeping our eye on for a long time, starting off from where he began. He has really evolved as an actor, and while there's still some exchanges here and there that definitely feel a little wooden, it's mostly in the dialogue. There's some points in here where it tries to get a little bit emotional here and there, that it just feels a little forced at times, but the personality, the performances never falter. Dave Bautista does a really good job in this movie at showing a range of emotions, and it's really endearing. Ella Purnell, this is the first thing I think I've seen her in, and she does a fantastic job as well. And of course, breakout to me is Matthias Schweighöfer. I've never seen anything he's in. He's a German star. I know a couple people in the comments before in previous videos have mentioned him, being excited seeing him in an American film. And he was so funny, so endearing. He was just a lot of fun on screen to watch. His performance was a blast. He arguably is the comedic relief in the group, and he does a fantastic job. Next to that is Omari Hardwick, man. This guy was badass through and through. Loved him to death. Those were my favorite characters in this movie, man. I think they did a fantastic job. One thing I want to call out is Tig Notaro and how she got added into the film, because she ended up coming in after the film was most of the way through the production, after a previous cast member had to be removed due to some controversies involved. And to kind of reshoot some of those scenes, they completely CGI'd her into all of these moments, all of these roles. And you can't tell. There's a couple of times you can kind of notice it, but the way that Zack shoots this film, he does this like shallow depth of field that we saw a lot of in the final nightmare scene on Zack Snyder's Justice League. Like when we have that shot back and forth between Batman and the Joker, where people are just kind of easily coming in and out of focus. A lot of the film is shot like that, and it makes it very tense. It makes it really gorgeous. It gives it almost like a dreamlike quality to it, which might be intentional, but this was a really interesting way to shoot the film, and I think that in a way helped them blend that character, that performance into the film, and it not really be distracting whatsoever. If I didn't know going into it, I would have not noticed whatsoever watching the movie. The action in this was gorgeous. The set pieces, the designs, the segments are tense. There's a lot of fun in here, a lot of great moments. Again, this is a very fun and action-packed film, but it's not all action. It does have layers. It does has levity. It has emotional beats in here. Some of them work, some of them not so much. But there's a lot of this movie runs the gambit, and I really enjoyed it. It does a lot of the typical zombie tropes that you come to expect from the genre, and he was very open about doing that because he just wanted to come in and just make a movie to have fun and just dive back into this world. But he does inject a lot of interesting ideas into here. There's almost like a J.J. Abrams-like puzzle box, mystery box, if you will, included in here. This movie ends with a lot of questions. Well, actually, it begins with a lot of questions, and it ends with even more questions, which is why I think that they planned for this to kind of spin off into a couple of different things. Obviously, with the 2 prequels being planned, possible sequel. The effects in this were really well done. All of the practical bits, all of the CGI was well done, and most of it. There's a couple of spots here and there where the CGI doesn't really work all too well, and it's mostly with the particle effects. There's like a stylized element to all of the explosions and fire effects in here that almost, again, kind of adds to this dreamlike fantasy quality of it. This movie, with the way that the zombies work, the way that going into the city of Las Vegas after it has been overrun with these zombies, has almost a Lord of the Rings like quality to it. It's a really interesting zombie film. If you don't like zombie films whatsoever, you might not like this, but if you are a fan of horror, if you are a fan of the zombie genre, I think you will be enthralled with this film. I had fun from it from beginning to end, and I'm really excited to see what they do with this and where it goes. So I recommend it, especially if you like horror and you're a zombie fan. I want to know your thoughts. Sound off in the comments if you've watched this movie already. Let me know how you felt. What are your ideas on some of the twists that have come up through it? Some of the little Easter eggs, the little nuggets that make you question everything that's going on in this film. There's a lot of mysteries that I can't wait to see how this whole thing unravels. I really enjoyed this movie, and I'm curious to see if you guys did too. So sound off the comments, and we'll carry on that conversation. Huge shout out to our patron legends, Mandy Scherer, Antoine Rodriguez, Ryan Karen, and Jason Coleman. Thank you guys so much for your support. Thank you everybody who's been signing up to the Patreon and helping out, supporting the channel, helping me do what I'm doing here. Hopefully we can branch it out to where we can get more stuff down the pipeline so that I can actually get around to doing reaction highlights to the films that I watch. But for now, this is just unfortunately the way we got to go with it. But guys, I got Discord open, got all my socials, all of that down in the description of the video. I hope to see you there. Otherwise, I will catch you guys in the next video. Take care, everybody.